Remember the first time when Gyre released, everyone was so afraid because both Gyre and Volt using electricity ability damage, so most people were quite afraid that will Gyre replace Volt position? But turns out it didn't, because Volt more like each of the ability can do their own separate job, but Gyre, most of the abilities can work with another one. So it seems that Gyre would need a little bit more skill, but high risk, high reward. Especially with the new Augment have released, this will make Gyre become even more good to play with. But how good it is, that's why we try to take a look in this video. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. The new augment we have received for our Gyre is Cathode Current, which is the Cathode Grace augment that can increase the damage delivered by Rotom Swell by 200% when your Cathode Grace is activated, and it will also extend the duration of your Rotom Swell. You see, Rotom Swell actually are a little bit hard to play because it don't really have a permanent duration. Occasionally, you will need to recast again and again for a few moments of time. Because of this, it actually will consume a massive amount of energy if you have energy problem. But with this augment, not only you actually cover the duration problem as well as the damage, because Rotom Swell actually don't have the high damage just like the other abilities did. That's why this augment can really help our Rotom Swells a lot. Still, electricity damage still have a few problems in terms of DPS. You see, electricity damage just like gas, which can only show its true power through a lot of enemies. If you're just hitting one enemies, that won't enough. And it cannot bypass armor, means that armor enemies such as Grenier can actually tank the hits very well. So based on this situation, you need an ability that can either crowd control, such as grouping, or remove ability. Luckily enough, Gyre already had one ability called Horizon, which can actually group enemies, so that's one problem solved. But how about the armors? You have several ways to strip armors, but my favorite being using skill because I'm lazy to switch into operators to use the Anaru Focus Skill. So based on the abilities we can choose, I have two options for. One is Terrify and another one being Thorough Strike. But because I don't have Thorough Strike, so I use Terrify. But I think that's quite enough, because Terrify not only strip armor but can also crowd control even more. Imagine that for Gyre that don't really have a good amount of health and we still relying on shield gating, this ability can become so good. Downside part for Terrify is that the energy consumption is extremely high. So for our build here, because the augment is our main star today, so we need to have one. And for our strength part, because we need to slot in as much strength as possible, so Blind Rage, Augur Secrets, and Molt Augmented is used. Because we're using Augur Secrets, of course we also need to use Augur Rage for the Augur Set bonus in order for us to shield gating. And because we're using Augur Rage, we'll be using Archon Stretch. Especially Archon Stretch allows us to have the extra bonus where we can gain energy regen if we do electricity damage through our abilities, which Gyre have no problem at all. While for our duration, it's actually not a big deal. Just one prime continuity is enough. That's because almost all abilities doesn't really need a duration, especially for your Cathode Grace and Rotom Swell can gain extra duration for each enemy kill, while the other two just not really use duration at all, so don't really need that much. Despite we have all of these that usually don't spend that much energy, but the energy consumption can actually be a little bit too high. That's why we have Energy Siphon, Prime Flow, and Arcane Energize. Especially when you take a look at here, we're using Energy Siphon, Augur Stretch, and Cathode Grace. With all these together, the value can reach up to around 6.8, around that value when the Molt Augmented buff is also activated, which can also become a very high value so that you don't really need to worry about the energy problem in a short moment of time. Rolling Guard and Prime Surefooter is quite self-explanatory because shield gating and self stagger, yeah, you know that, right? Now, for this build, there's actually a very serious problem that we had to be careful about. Because Cathode Grace and Rotom Swell can gain duration infinitely. So, if they have duration activated, they won't be able to disable it. But Molt Augmented can only be used if you can cast them during the buff is active. But if you cast it before the buff is activated, which is right in the very beginning, there's no way that you can gain the extra 60% strength buff if you can manage to get all the Molt Augmented buff. So how do I do it? Well, there's a very simple way that I can do. I call it as self-suicide. Not really just die, but try to disable the ability by either drop into the void or get in touch with the nullifier bubbles, because those won't kill you, but they will immediately reset all of your abilities so that you can recast it again. And because you didn't die, the buff still activated. So you can recast it with the new buff provided to you, and thus you can actually get the higher value for your Cathode Grace and Rotoswell. And there you have it. Gyre is a really fun frame to play if you know how to play, because like I mentioned before, high risk, high reward. This frame is indeed hard to play, but play it well enough, you can make it good. Of course, I didn't manage to play it quite well, especially I just keep dying in the process. But I still have fun to play with her, especially with the augment that gave it to Gyre. Now I don't really need to recast the Rotoswell even more. I can just only focus on Coil Horizon and Terrify for the other main purpose. Especially I can more focus on shield gating. This is why I think that the new augment really helped out Gyre a lot. If this is your first time watching, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel so that you won't miss out any newest contents from me. Why not leave your comments down below if you got any ideas or thoughts you want to share with all of us. And that's it from me, and as always, I will see you all next time. Bye bye!